Close your eyes for a moment and think about this. How often do you feel that something in your life isn't the way it should be? Maybe it's your health, your job, your relationships, or even the world itself. There's always that whisper inside saying, if only this was different, then I would finally be at peace. But what if I told you the peace you're chasing is already here? That everything, just as it is right now, carries a hidden perfection. It sounds almost impossible, doesn't it? Our minds are trained to fix, to change, to resist. From the time we wake up, we're often in battle with life itself. The traffic shouldn't be this bad. The weather shouldn't be this gloomy. My body shouldn't feel this tired. People shouldn't treat me this way. Every moment is weighed against an idea of how it should be. And yet, in that very struggle, we miss the most important truth. The world has never been wrong. Reality has never made a mistake. The only thing that creates conflict is our resistance to what is. Imagine standing in front of the ocean. The waves rise, crash, and pull back. No two waves are the same. Some are soft and gentle, others fierce and wild. But none of them are wrong. They are all part of the ocean's rhythm. Life is exactly like that ocean. Every moment, whether joyful or painful, is part of a larger harmony that we can't always see. So why do we suffer? Because we keep fighting the waves. We want them smaller, or larger, or calmer, or faster. Instead of floating with them, we exhaust ourselves trying to control what can never be controlled. But here's the secret that great teachers have whispered across centuries. The moment you stop fighting the ocean, you begin to float. The instant you drop the thought that life must be different, you discover a peace that was here all along. This is not about giving up. It's not about blind acceptance or pretending things don't matter. It's about shifting the lens through which you see reality. When you stop labeling every moment as good or bad, fair or unfair, perfect or broken, you suddenly see life as whole. You realize that nothing has ever been missing. Think of a mosaic. Up close, one single piece might look sharp, dark, even out of place. But step back and you see the entire design. That piece wasn't a mistake. It was essential for the picture to exist. In the same way, the challenges, disappointments, and struggles in your life are not errors. They are threads in the larger tapestry that is still being woven. And so, the invitation is simple yet powerful. Right here, right now, can you allow yourself to stop fighting? Can you breathe, soften your shoulders, and trust that everything is good as it is? Because the moment you do, you'll notice something subtle shift inside of you. Your heart feels lighter. Your mind grows quieter. And you begin to sense that the perfection you've been searching for was never out there. It's been here, within you, from the very beginning. If you listen closely, you'll notice that most of our suffering doesn't come from the world itself. It comes from the quiet, constant resistance we carry inside. We wake up each day and almost immediately start pushing against life. I don't want this weather. I don't want this body. I don't want this feeling. I don't want this moment. This voice of resistance is so familiar, so persistent, that we hardly notice it anymore. It has become the background music of our days. And yet this silent battle drains more energy than anything else. Not the situation, not the people, not even the pain itself. What truly exhausts us is the endless effort of wishing reality was different. But what if resistance was optional? Think about it. When rain falls, does the earth resist? No, it simply absorbs it, transforms it, and gives life. When night comes, does the sky argue with the sun? No, it accepts the darkness, knowing the dawn will return. Only the human mind insists that life should always bend to its preferences. We don't realize how heavy that insistence is until we put it down. It's like carrying a clenched fist everywhere we go. The moment we release the grip, we feel relief. In the same way, when we let go of resistance, even for a single breath, peace enters. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you ignore injustice or surrender to misery. It means you meet each moment without the extra burden of this shouldn't be happening. It means saying yes to the present, even if your actions later will move it in a new direction. Picture a river. If you throw yourself against the current, you will struggle, fight, and tire. But if you allow the river to carry you, you may find it takes you somewhere unexpected, somewhere you couldn't reach by force. Life is the same. The current of existence is already flowing. Resistance is nothing more than thrashing in the water. So here is the practice. When something doesn't go your way, pause. Notice the tension in your chest, the voice in your head saying, "No, not this." Then gently breathe it out. Ask yourself, can I allow this moment to be what it is, even if I don't prefer it? Just asking the question already softens the resistance. And in that softness, you'll find a new kind of strength. A strength not rooted in control, but in trust. A power not built on forcing life, but on flowing with it. When resistance dissolves, what remains is clarity. And in clarity, you begin to see that life has never truly been against you. The obstacles, the delays, the disappointments, all of them are waves teaching you how to move, how to bend, how to grow. And so every time you release resistance, you don't lose, you gain. You gain freedom, you gain peace, and you gain the wisdom to see reality as it truly is. When resistance fades, even for a brief moment, something extraordinary happens. A quiet space opens within you, and in that space you come face to face with the one thing that has shaped your entire experience of life. Your own mind. Most of us spend our days looking outward, blaming the weather, the traffic, other people, even fate itself. But if we're honest, the real storm is never outside. The real storm is the constant chatter, the endless commentary, the ceaseless judgments playing inside our head. Think about it. Two people can walk through the same rainstorm. One curses the sky, drenched and miserable. The other smiles, feeling alive with every drop on their skin. The rain is the same. The only difference is the mind interpreting it. And so, the question arises, if the mind is the lens through which you see the world, shouldn't you know this lens intimately? Shouldn't you turn your attention inward and ask, what is really happening in here? Facing the mind is not about silencing it by force. You cannot wrestle your thoughts into stillness any more than you can hold back the tide. Instead, it's about observing calmly, patiently, without judgment. When a thought arises, "I'm not good enough," or "this shouldn't have happened," you notice it the way you might notice a cloud drifting across the sky. You don't chase it, you don't cling to it, and you don't push it away. You simply watch. And as you watch, something remarkable reveals itself. The thought is not you. The emotion is not you. They appear, they linger, they fade, just like clouds, just like waves. What remains when you watch deeply is the vast sky of awareness itself, the spacious presence in which all thoughts and feelings come and go. This awareness is calm, unshaken, untouched by the storms it contains. Most people live trapped in the theater of their mind, never realizing they are the audience, not the actors. They identify with every role, every scene, every drama. But the moment you step back and observe, you discover freedom. You are not the angry thought. You are not the anxious feeling. You are the awareness that sees them. This shift is small, almost invisible, yet it changes everything. Because once you stop being fused with every story your mind tells, the stories lose their grip. Fear softens. Doubt weakens. The endless craving for things to be different begins to dissolve. And here's the beauty. Facing the mind doesn't require a special temple or a distant retreat. You can do it right now, wherever you are. As you breathe, notice the rise and fall of thoughts. Watch them without judgment. In that simple act of seeing, you begin to reclaim your life from the storm of your own mind. It is said that the longest journey a person can take is the 18 inches from the head to the heart. And that journey begins here, by turning inward, by facing the mind directly, and by realizing that behind the noise, you've always been free. When we look deeply into the mind, we begin to notice something extraordinary. Most of our suffering does not come from the experiences themselves, but from the way we resist them. A thought arises, and instead of letting it pass like a cloud, we grasp it, fight it, argue with it. A feeling surfaces, and rather than holding it with compassion, we reject it, pushing it away as if it were an enemy. But here lies the paradox. The harder we resist, the stronger it grows. The more we try to escape what we don't want, the more it chases us. Acceptance is not about weakness. It is not about giving up. It is about wisdom. To accept is to see reality exactly as it is, without coloring it with fear, without distorting it with anger, without pretending it is something else. Acceptance is clarity. It is the ability to say, this is here, this is happening, and I can be with it. Think of a raging storm. If you stand against it, shouting, demanding the winds to stop, you will only exhaust yourself. But if you recognize, yes, this is a storm, and you take shelter calmly, the storm still exists, but you are no longer its victim. Acceptance is that shelter. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that the root of peace lies not in controlling life, but in aligning with it. Pain will visit us. Change will shake us. Loss will test us. But none of these has the power to destroy us, unless we cling to how we think things should be. The great Zen master Thich Nh letter 1e5t H letter 1e1nh once said, "When we accept ourselves, the present moment becomes a friend, not an enemy." To accept does not mean to like everything, but it means to stop fighting with reality. And in that surrender, we discover freedom. Imagine for a moment a senior who is aging, watching their body slow down, noticing memory fade. If they resist, every wrinkle becomes a burden, every forgotten word a source of shame. But if they accept, each wrinkle tells a story, each forgotten word becomes simply part of being human. Acceptance transforms suffering into wisdom. And this wisdom is simple yet profound. Life is not here to obey us. Life is here to move through us. The river does not stop when we tell it to. The seasons do not change according to our wish. But when we flow with them, when we allow life to be exactly as it is, we step into a deeper intelligence, the intelligence of the universe itself. Acceptance is not passive. It does not mean you stop taking action. It means your action no longer comes from fear or denial. You are not running from reality, you are moving with it. From this place, decisions become clearer, relationships soften, and even suffering loses its sharp edges. The greatest liberation comes not from changing what happens, but from transforming the way we relate to what happens. That is the essence of wisdom through acceptance. And when the heart learns to rest in that acceptance, something begins to shift. The mind grows quiet, the body softens, and a new horizon opens, a space where compassion naturally arises. For when we accept ourselves and our lives, we also begin to accept others. And that is where our journey now leads. When the heart begins to rest in acceptance, a new kind of teacher appears, silent, vast, and always present. That teacher is nature. For thousands of years, sages and meditators have looked to the mountains, the rivers, the forests, not to escape life, but to understand it. Nature is not separate from us. It is not something we visit once in a while. It is the mirror of our own mind. Think of a tree. Season after season, it stands. In spring, it blossoms without forcing. In autumn, it lets go of its leaves without regret. In winter, it rests, patient and bare, waiting for the cycle to return. The tree never argues with the weather. It never clings to the flower or resists the falling leaf. It simply flows with the rhythm of life. Isn't that what wisdom looks like? The river, too, has its lesson. No matter how many rocks lie in its way, it never complains, never stops moving. It bends, it curves, it reshapes itself, always finding a path forward. And yet, for all its gentleness, it carves valleys, wears down mountains, reshapes the very land. True strength, nature whispers, is not in resistance but in persistence. When we look at the sky, we see clouds drifting, forming and dissolving endlessly, each one unique yet none permanent. The sky never holds on to a single cloud. It lets each pass, spacious and free. Can we do the same with our thoughts, our emotions, our struggles? To hold them lightly, to let them move through us without clinging. And then there is the stillness of the mountains. Standing for centuries, they embody patience. Storms come, snow falls, winds howl, but the mountain remains. This does not mean it resists. It simply abides. It allows all things to pass across its surface without losing its essence. We too can find that mountain within ourselves. Nature does not rush, yet everything is accomplished. The flower does not wake up one morning and say, "I must bloom today," or "I am a failure." It simply receives the sunlight, drinks the rain, and opens when the time is right. How often do we pressure ourselves, demanding that we be something we are not yet ready to be? Learning from nature, we discover patience, we discover trust, we discover the art of unfolding. And perhaps the most profound lesson nature offers is this: everything belongs. The sunlight and the shadow, the storm and the calm, the life and the death. Nothing is wasted, nothing is rejected. In the great web of existence, all has its place. When we see this truth reflected in the trees, the rivers, the stars, we also begin to see it within ourselves. Our joy and our sorrow, our strength and our weakness, our victories and our mistakes, all of them belong. Nothing needs to be erased. Nothing needs to be denied. To walk with nature is to walk with wisdom. To sit beneath a tree is to remember stillness. To watch the ocean waves is to remember impermanence. To feel the wind on our face is to remember that life is always moving, always changing, and always offering us a chance to flow with it. And as this deep listening to nature grows within us, something begins to awaken. A sense of connection, a recognition that we are not separate. The same breath that moves the wind moves through our lungs. The same water that flows in rivers flows in our veins. The same earth that holds the mountains holds our bodies. We are not visitors here. We are not masters here. We are nature. And when that truth sinks deeply into the heart, a seed begins to sprout. A seed of compassion, not only for ourselves, but for all beings. Because when you see the world as yourself, how can you not care for it? How can you not extend kindness to every life you encounter? And so the journey moves forward into this next unfolding of the heart. When you sit quietly under a tree, listening to the whisper of the wind, something remarkable begins to happen. The boundaries between you and the world start to soften. The air you breathe is the same air the tree exhales. The warmth of the sun touches both your skin and the leaf. Slowly, the illusion of separation begins to fade. This is the invitation of life, to go beyond the narrow cage of I, me, mine. For most of our days, we live as if the self is a solid thing, a fixed identity we must protect, defend, and feed. We spend so much energy polishing the image of who we think we are, building walls around it, comparing it against others, fearing its loss. But what if this self we cling to is not as solid as we imagine? Look closely. The body you call mine is made of the food you've eaten, the water you've drunk, the breath you've inhaled. None of it originated with you. It all comes from the earth, from the sun, from countless unseen hands. Even the thoughts you call my thoughts are echoes of language taught to you, shaped by culture, influenced by experiences that pass through you like clouds through the sky. So where is the self that stands apart? Where is the I that owns any of this? When we see through this illusion, a strange freedom arises. The pressure to prove ourselves begins to dissolve. The anxiety of comparison weakens. The burden of protecting an identity lightens. Without the prison of me, there is only life flowing, moving, changing. Think of the ocean. Each wave rises, curls, and falls. For a brief moment it seems separate, individual, but can the wave ever exist apart from the ocean? Its very being is the ocean in motion. In the same way, what you call I is nothing but life expressing itself for a while. When the wave dissolves, nothing is lost. The ocean remains. This realization is not meant to erase you. It is not a call to abandon your uniqueness. Instead, it is an opening, a recognition that your life is deeply intertwined with all life. When the illusion of separateness falls away, what replaces it is not emptiness but intimacy. You feel the world as yourself. You look into the eyes of another and see your own reflection. And from this place, compassion is no longer an effort. It is natural. Helping another is helping yourself. Harming another is harming yourself. The walls of the ego crumble, and what's left is connection, boundless and alive. To go beyond the self is not to deny your story, but to stop clinging to it. It is to wear your identity lightly, like a robe that can be put on and taken off, not a skin that traps you. It is to realize that who you truly are cannot be confined to a name, a role, or a body. You are the witness of it all. You are the vastness in which all experience rises and fades. And in this vastness, life feels different. Suddenly, there is more space to breathe, to love, to live. The small dramas that once consumed you begin to lose their grip. The endless chasing, competing, comparing, none of it feels necessary anymore. Because beyond the self, you find something far more precious: peace. This peace is not passive. It is alive, radiant, fearless. It allows you to move in the world with a steady heart, to act without the chains of ego, to give without fear of loss, to love without demand. And so, step by step, the path unfolds, carrying us deeper, not into isolation but into unity, not into emptiness but into fullness. Beyond the self lies the freedom to live, not as a separate I, but as a living expression of the whole. When the illusion of a separate self begins to dissolve, something luminous starts to reveal itself. Life no longer feels fragmented. It no longer feels like a battlefield where pieces are constantly colliding. Instead, there is a sense of wholeness, an inner completeness that does not depend on anything outside. Wholeness is not about perfection. It is not about fixing every flaw or erasing every scar. True wholeness comes from seeing that nothing is missing, nothing is out of place, nothing needs to be rejected. Every joy, every wound, every success, every failure, they are all threads in the same tapestry woven into the story of your life. Think of the moon. On some nights it appears full. On others only a sliver is visible. Yet whether you see a crescent or a circle, the moon is always whole. In the same way, even when parts of us feel hidden, broken, or incomplete, our essence remains untouched. We are already whole. We simply need to remember. Living with wholeness means moving through life without constantly chasing after what we think will complete us. For so long, we believe happiness will come once we achieve this, acquire that, become someone else. But the chase never ends. The moment we reach one peak, another appears on the horizon. Wholeness whispers a different truth. You are enough here and now. When we embrace this truth, something shifts. We stop running away from ourselves. We stop looking for missing pieces in the outside world. Instead, we begin to rest in our own being. We begin to taste a kind of quiet joy, the kind that doesn't depend on circumstances but flows from within. And from this wholeness, our relationships transform. No longer burdened by the hunger to be completed by another, we can finally love freely. We can give without grasping, receive without clinging. Love becomes not a transaction but an overflowing. Wholeness also means embracing the paradoxes of life. Joy and sorrow, light and shadow, gain and loss, they are not enemies but partners. Just as a song needs both sound and silence to exist, life needs both contrast and harmony. When we stop resisting one side of the spectrum, we begin to experience the richness of the whole. Think of the ocean again. On the surface, waves rise and fall, storms come and go. But in its depths, the ocean remains vast and undisturbed. When we live with wholeness, we too find that inner depth. The storms of life still pass through us, but they no longer define us. Beneath the surface, we remain steady, spacious, whole. Living with wholeness is not an escape from life, but a full embrace of it. It means showing up to each moment, not half-heartedly, not distracted, not wishing to be elsewhere, but fully alive, fully present. Whether washing dishes, walking in the rain, or sitting with a loved one, every moment becomes sacred when lived in wholeness. And here lies the gift. When you live from this place, you begin to radiate a quiet strength. People around you feel it. They sense a calm that cannot be shaken, a presence that does not waver. You become like the tree, the river, the mountain, anchored, alive, whole. This is not the end of the journey, but a deeper unfolding. Because from wholeness flows something even greater, the ability to be fully here, fully now, to live in the heartbeat of presence itself. Wholeness is beautiful as an idea, but its true power is revealed when it touches the way we live each day. Because wisdom is not meant to remain in books or meditation halls. It is meant to walk with us in the ordinary and the simple, shaping the way we breathe, the way we speak, the way we touch the world. So how do we carry this into our daily lives? It begins with awareness, not a dramatic practice, but a gentle noticing. When you wake up in the morning, before you rush to your phone, pause. Feel the breath rising in your chest. Notice the stillness of the room. Whisper silently to yourself, "I am here." That small act of presence can set the tone for the entire day. As you move through the day, every action becomes a chance to live with wholeness. Drinking tea instead of scrolling through distractions, feel the warmth of the cup in your hands. Walking to the store instead of being lost in thought, notice the rhythm of your steps, the way the air brushes against your face. Ordinary moments become extraordinary when you give them your full attention. And when challenges arise, and they will, remember the lessons of nature. When anger flares, let it pass like a storm cloud. When difficulty blocks your path, move like the river, finding a new way forward. When exhaustion sets in, rest like the tree in winter, knowing renewal will come. This is not escape, it is skillful living, a dance with life instead of a struggle against it. Relationships, too, become a place to embody this wisdom. Instead of speaking to win, speak to connect. Instead of listening only to reply, listen to understand. Let every conversation be an offering of presence, not a battlefield of egos. In this way, daily interactions stop draining us and begin to nourish us. Even work with its endless demands can be transformed. Instead of rushing through tasks, pause and do one thing with full attention. Instead of measuring your worth by output, measure it by the presence you bring to the moment. Productivity without presence leads to exhaustion. Presence turns even the smallest task into meaningful action. And what about suffering? The inevitable losses, failures, and disappointments. This is where the practice shines brightest. Instead of resisting pain, hold it gently. Instead of pushing away sadness, allow it to sit with you for a while. To live with wholeness in daily life is not to avoid suffering, but to meet it with compassion, knowing it too belongs. Slowly, life itself becomes the practice. No division between spiritual and ordinary. Washing dishes, holding a child's hand, sitting in traffic, all of it becomes part of the path. And the beauty is, the more you live this way, the lighter everything feels. Problems remain, but they no longer define you. Success comes, but it doesn't inflate you. Each moment is simply lived, fully, openly, completely. This is what it means to embody wisdom. Not to retreat from the world, but to bring presence, compassion, and wholeness into the very fabric of daily living. And as this becomes natural, something else begins to awaken. The recognition that freedom is not found in escaping life, but in meeting it moment by moment with an open heart. When wisdom begins to take root in daily life, a new quality quietly grows within us: faith. Not blind belief, not clinging to dogma, but a deep trust in life itself. A trust that everything unfolds in its time, that each step is part of a larger rhythm, even when we cannot see the whole pattern. Faith is the knowing that the river will always find the sea, even if it bends through unseen valleys. Faith is the courage to take the next step without needing to know the entire road ahead. It is the gentle voice inside that whispers, "It's okay, keep walking." But faith alone is not the goal. Its gift is freedom. Because when we trust life, we no longer need to control it. We no longer exhaust ourselves trying to bend everything to our will. We allow space for mystery, for surprise, for the unfolding of what is greater than us. Think of a bird in flight. It does not control the wind, it moves with it. Faith is like the wings that let us dance with the unpredictable winds of life. And freedom is the sky that opens before us when we stop fighting the currents. So many of us live in fear. Fear of loss, fear of failure, fear of the unknown. Fear is the prison of the ego, locking us in constant anxiety. But faith is the key. With trust, the prison door swings open and we step into freedom. Not the freedom to get everything we want, but the freedom to live without chains. This freedom changes the way we see ourselves and the world. We stop measuring our worth by possessions, achievements, or approval. We stop chasing endless desires that never satisfy. Instead, we discover a deeper kind of wealth, the joy of simply being alive, the richness of this very breath. And in this freedom, love flourishes. Because when you no longer live in fear, you can love without condition. You can forgive more easily, let go more gently, and live more fully. Freedom is not an escape from responsibility. It is the power to respond to life without being enslaved by fear, greed, or anger. Faith and freedom are two wings of the same bird. Faith gives us the courage to trust the unknown. Freedom gives us the space to soar beyond limitation. Together, they carry us into a life that is lighter, fuller, more real. And as this journey unfolds, we realize something profound. Freedom is not a distant destination. It is not waiting at the end of the road. It is here now, in the way we choose to meet this moment, with trust, with openness, with a heart unbound. This is where the path has been leading all along. And from here, one final step remains, an opening that brings the whole journey together into a single truth. The recognition that everything, just as it is, has always been enough. There comes a moment in every journey when you stop searching, not because you've given up, but because you've arrived. And in that quiet arrival, you see the truth that has been here all along. Everything is already perfect. Not perfect in the way the mind imagines, without flaws, without pain, without struggle, but perfect in the way life itself unfolds. The way the river flows, the way the seasons turn, the way the heart learns through both joy and sorrow. Perfection is not the absence of difficulty. It is the harmony that holds everything together. Think of your own life. Every twist, every detour, every heartbreak, it has shaped the person you are right now. Even the moments you wished away carried lessons, carving depth into your soul, opening space for compassion, strengthening the roots of your being. If you look closely, you'll see that nothing was wasted. Everything belonged. To see that everything is already perfect is to finally exhale, to stop struggling against the current, to realize that you don't need to fix yourself, you don't need to fix life. You only need to meet it as it is, with open eyes and an open heart. And from that space, gratitude blossoms. Gratitude not only for the good days, but also for the hard ones. Gratitude not only for the victories, but also for the lessons hidden inside the failures. Gratitude because life, in all its complexity, is a gift that could never be measured or earned. It can only be received. So as this journey comes to a close, carry this with you. There is nothing you must chase, nothing you must become. You are already whole, you are already free. And when you rest in that knowing, life becomes lighter, love becomes deeper, and peace becomes natural. Everything is already perfect. Not because life is without storms, but because you have discovered the stillness that holds them. Not because there is no pain, but because even pain belongs to the great unfolding. Not because you control the path, but because the path has always been guiding you home. And now, in this very breath, you are home.